Hello. And in this video, I want to show you exactly how to set up your Shopify store with VWO so you can start doing some cool A/B testing and really optimize your landing pages and anything for that matter. I'm going to do the full A to Z walkthrough of exactly how to do this and even how to start up your own first test, which specifically can be very useful to test your configuration. So let's dive in. I will say that as of today, which is March 17, 2024, there have actually been some pretty recent updates with VWO. They released an app, which I'll be showing you, which makes the whole process much easier. Let's dive in. All right, so first and foremost, we're going to hit try VWO for free. And I'm going to put in here an account that I have, which put this account, click start now. An account with this email already exists. Let me solve that real quick. Alrighty, let's give this another shot. I basically just went in and deleted my account. Let's hit start now, and it should give us a green light. Yay. All right, I'm just going to do Jacob test, and I'll put a phone number and a password. I will typically just use whatever LastPass suggests for me, and I'll hit create account. Obviously, you're going to want to save your password because you're going to most likely need it in the future. Let's just give VW a moment to create the account. And I will do this. Cool. We've jumped in here. Now, once you log in, you are going to get a message, an email most likely from VWO to verify your email. I usually recommend going and doing that really quickly just to get it over with. So I just went and grabbed the link address of that verification, and I'm now going to paste it here to finish my verification. And the account has been verified. Yippee. All right, so next step is going to be the actual setup. I'm going to actually use a client site for this example. So I'm going to be using this website, avaestelle.com, which I'm going to be putting right here. And it doesn't really matter what you put here. Click next. And now you'll be presented with these different options. I usually tell my clients that they should start with basically what's free. So I would just take this one. If you start with any of these other ones, they might be cool. But when you finish your free trial, if you want to stick on a free plan, none of them are going to be included. So, I prefer not to be tempted. Let's put it that way. So select VWO testing web, click next. Now, something important for me to mention is during the free trial period, they're going to give you 10K unique visitors to your website for free. That being said, there's also a free plan that includes 50,000 unique visitors. So if you do, for some reason, finish the 10K rather quickly or before the end of a 30-day period, I'd recommend just upgrading right away to a, say, official free account and not a trial account. And you'll have 50,000 instead of 10,000. Next, you're going to hit connect your website, and I'm going to hit connect now, website, next. We put the domain again, hit add domain, and it's going to do a little bit of a checking. And we are good to go. Next thing that we're going to want to do here is actually pretty much ignore all of this. The only case that you would have to do anything with any of this is if you don't use checkout extensibility. As of right now, it's March 2024. Shopify is going to be forcing everyone to be using checkout extensibility, which is their new checkout, within, I think, 6 months or so. So by the time you're watching this might already be applicable for everybody. In other words, you might not even have an option, but it depends on when you're seeing this. Regardless, what's important is that you see the new way to do this, the recommended way to do this. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is actually leaving this screen and going over here. In case you can't find this, you just go to apps.shopify.com/VWO. Last time I checked, I actually could not find this in the App Store, so you're going to have to actually use this direct link. Once you do that, you're going to have to install it and hit Open App. And you're going to get something that looks like this once you at least install it. What you're then going to do is hit Open Shopify Editor. While that's happening, I want you to go back to your VWO account, click on this little settings gear icon, and up here, which is account ID, I want you to hit this copy. So the copy is the account ID to the clipboard. Next thing that I want you to do is to take that what you just copied and you're going to paste it right here. You're going to hit save. Now you're going to go back to the previous screen, hit turn on, and you're going to enter your account ID here again and hit activate tracking and then activate. That is pretty much all that you need to do when it comes to like setting up, just getting it configured, just starting to collect the data. But then we want to actually have the data be of use to us. So I'll show you exactly what I do for that. What we've actually just done is we've made it so that whenever certain events happen on our site, those events are going to be sent to our VWO account, which we can use as events, which are then trackable as metrics in our A/B testing campaigns. So just to kind of give you some context about what type of events are actually being shared with VWO, I will open this up right here so you can see. And you can see these are some of the events, product view events. There's a handful of different things that are part of the product view events. When products are added to cart, products removed from the cart reviewed, checkout started, checkout completed. This is your purchase event. These are particularly useful because they give you the ability to essentially look at your A/B testing results based off of these types of metrics. Typically, all I really want to know is when something is added to cart, like something was added to cart, when something has, or when a user has added to cart, when a user has initiated checkout, and when a user has made a purchase, and also how much that purchase is for. So I'll show you exactly how to set that up. I wouldn't want to do some of the other stuff unless I would say more advanced. What you're going to do is you're going to click Events over here under Data 360. When you do that, you might have certain things populate here. So this kind of populates over time as the events actually happen. Let's see when I refresh the page if there's more. No, there isn't yet. What I do recommend is you can do these events on your own, like in real time, and these actually should appear. So just letting you know, make sure you don't have any kind of pop-up blockers or anything like that that's going to affect these events from actually triggering as you do it yourself when you want to do this testing. So let's start. We're going to start with the Shopify product added to cart event, and we're going to click there. Then we're going to hit register event. You have all these different options of different things that you could add technically. Now, what in this case, what I do want to do is to just kind of give myself a bit more of a description. So typically what I will do is actually use this description so that I don't forget what it is. So I might go here to the added to cart event. And I'll put this description over here. Then we got the product ID. I'm going to put that over here. The product title, put that over here. Product URL, we're going to put that over here. The product type. Again, this is just to make it easier so that in the future, you know exactly what each of these items are. Sometimes I actually haven't been given the option to add all of these. So, something to be aware of, but it appears that right now it is letting me. Hopefully it'll be the same case for you guys. But ultimately, the only real thing that I care about is when the product has been added to the cart. So even if it didn't come with all these properties, I'd still be fine with it. The other thing that I'm going to want to do is to just update anything which is a dollar value to a number. So currency is technically actually just a text. Title, type, URL, vendor, quantity is a number. like it says here, and the amount is a number. I guess this was already done automatically. We're going to hit create, and all of these are saved, which is fantastic. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the checkout started. I'm going to hit register event, and I'm going to go back here to the checkout started. Total amount we're going to put here. Oops, currency, we put here, and the quantity, total item quantity. Yes. Again, the total amount is a dollar value, so it's a number, or it's depending on the currency. Anyways, all of this has already been pre-configured. All we're going to do is hit create. So now we've covered the add to cart, we've covered the checkout, add to initiate checkout, and the only thing that we're missing is the actual purchase. So I'm going to refresh the page and see if that event gets registered. By the way, it doesn't hurt to register these other events, so I probably will hit register event. Well, you know what? I'll probably actually wait till I get my main events in here, and then I'll do that just in case. So let me refresh. And I'm just going to give this a couple minutes. I'll put the video on pause and make sure that we get that event registered so we can use it. All right, well, a few minutes have actually gone by, and I still haven't gotten the completed checkout to event to occur here, which is actually surprising because the store is pretty high volume. But anyways, let me at least show you for now how to do the metrics setup so we can actually test and use these events for our benefit, and also show you exactly what I mean by that. So next thing we're going to do is we head over to metrics down here below and hit create. And now you're going to name this based off of that event. So for example, oftentimes I'll do arrival to cart, or let's say add to cart. And then I'll change this to Shopify product added to cart. And that's pretty much all I'll do. There might be some cases where you want a little bit more information. For example, which, I don't know, any information here. There's a handful of things that won't even be available to you just because of the limitation if you're on a trial. But if you do want to see, for example, the product that were added to the cart, what was the quantity or the total amount, you can also have that tracked. I typically don't. It's just kind of like a distraction when you're early to testing, and it's not really where I would focus my attention for now. So I just hit create, and we have that metric now added. Now we're going to do the same thing for the initiation of checkout. So checkout started, that's pretty much maybe arrival to checkout started. And we're just going to change this one to checkout started. Again, some people, you might want to see what's the amount of product value in the checkout when it was started. Again, I'm not really going to focus on that. So I'm just going to hit unique visitors and hit create. Now we have that set up. Let's go back to the events and see if maybe we got a purchase event. We have not, but maybe by the time I finish setting up the A/B test, then we will. So now I want to show you how to set up the A/B test. We're going to go to here to testing and click A/B. I have already clicked this, but what you're going to see usually is start your A/B test or something along those lines. Once you do that, it's going to open up a campaign, which is going to look like something like this. First and foremost, I don't start testing until I've made sure that my configuration is working properly. So usually I'll edit this name and I'll set up what's called an AA test, which is just to test the configuration. What this is doing is, instead of splitting the traffic between two or multiple different variations, I'm literally just splitting it into two, but showing them the exact same thing. So it really doesn't affect our front end or our customer experience at all. Next thing I'll be doing is taking a page on the website, which is basically where I want the test to be triggering. So let's just take, for ease, the homepage, put that right there, and then I'll click variations. Typically in a standard A/B test, when you're not just testing the configuration, what you'll do is you'll hit add variation, and then you will typically name this variation accordingly, hit edit, and make some changes in their visual editor. The alternative, by the way, is to create an additional page, give it a new URL, and run a split URL test instead of an A/B test. They operate the exact same way, just the main difference is pretty much just how you set it up. Like I said, I want to run an AA test, absolutely no changes. So I'm going to make, under this modifications, I'm going to make 0 modifications, have the traffic distribute equally 50-50. If you did want to change that, you could do it here, but I would not recommend that for an AA test. And then we're going to select the metrics here. We want to select all the metrics that we've previously set up. So we're going to select here arrival to cart. That's going to be the primary metric. And then we're going to hit the secondary metric, which is this. If the purchase metric had been set up as well, then I would also want to include that. But for now, I'm just going to hit save now. Under audience and traffic, we're not going to touch anything. We want this to be shown to all traffic, and everything else here we're also going to leave as is. Let's go back and just see if maybe we've gotten lucky. Let's see. No, we haven't, but that's okay. Let's see. What else would I like to show you? So first of all, when we do have all of that set up here, we want to basically hit start test. Ideally, you want to let this run for a day or so and just make sure that the data is getting collected properly. But even before doing this, let's just verify that the VWO profile has been set up properly for the Shopify account. So you're going to hit this gear icon, and you're going to go to, no, I'm sorry, and hit configurations, websites and apps. And I want you to click on your website here, scroll down, and where it says check if smart code is installed properly, that's where I want you to put Ava Estelle or whatever your domain might be, and hit check. Now, my specific browser has been giving me issues lately where it's saying that it's not validated when it is. If that's the case, what I would normally do is I'd go to incognito, and that's actually what I've been doing recently, and it's been working. No clue, probably with my cache and cookies or something. Let's see if this works. Yeah, as you can see, it's kind of stuck in this check mode. I have no clue why. Just to prove to you that this is that I did set it up properly so that you don't waste your time. I'm going to share with you me doing this over here. So going back here, I'm just going to pause my video for a moment to protect my privacy and my password. Okay, and I'm going to now sign in. Again, I'm just in incognito. And just like I said before, we're just going to test this. So let's get Ava Estelle in there, hit check. And as you could see, this worked immediately. It's installed correctly. So we know that we're good. While we're over here, let's see if maybe we've gotten that event to show up in the meantime. Probably not. We have not. Long story short, what's important for that event is to make sure that we are collecting the total amount in the number format. And that is specifically because we don't want to just track the conversion rate, which is when the purchase has been completed, which is actually under the checkout completed event. But what we also want is the total price, which is right here. That's going to be the name of that specific one. I'm going to give us another few minutes and see if that event populates. And if not, we'll just leave it at that. Now, in the meantime, while we are waiting for that event to populate, I would love to show you a sample report which VWO provides with us, just so that we can actually get a better understanding of what we can expect to see. So let's jump in and do that. We're going to hit Smart Stats Sample Report here. And of course, it depends. These metrics are set by the user, which is what we set in that AA test. But essentially, these are different metrics, M1, M2, metric 1, metric 2. And then you have the data over here on the right-hand side. The key things that you're going to want to be looking at is well, actually, there's a few things. First of all, what's the sample size? Sample size is going to be represented by this number down here. Then what are the total number of metric conversions, whatever that metric may be, which is going to be right here. And in cases where you are calculating measuring of a number value, it's also going to appear here above that. So I'll show you a case when that's not the case. When that isn't the case, you see here we have a total sample size of 1757 with the total number of conversions of that metric, which is a sign up metric, being 134. When we look up above here, we can see that the website has generated 75 conversions out of 894 visitors. The social proof version has generated 59 out of 863. And we could even see some VWO metrics here with the probability that this beats the baseline. And the baseline, of course, is our control, which is the original version of our page. The improvement here, which is going to specifically detail what is the improvement generated by our variation 1. And then what's the expected conversion rate, which is basically just taking this divided by this and this divided by this. It's quite easy to calculate. When we look at conversion rates, add to cart rates, initiate checkout rates, this is basically the type of report you're going to be looking at. When you look at the revenue per visitor, which to me is actually the most important metric, you're going to be looking at something that looks a lot more close to this. You'll have the sample size, you'll have the total number of conversions, you'll have the value, the total value of all those conversions. Here you're going to be able to see the value generated by the control, the value generated by the variation, the number of conversions which generated that value, the total sample size which was part of generating that value for the control, and the same thing with the variation down here below, 18 different conversions which generated 2863 in value, which is of 863 total visitors. You'll have the improvement, if there is an improvement, that was generated in an actual dollar amount. You can also make sure that it keeps the currency, by the way, which I'll show you how to do as well in just a moment. And then you can actually see the expected revenue per visitor. So this is not the AOV, this is the revenue per visitor. It calculates essentially the conversion rate and the average order value into one metric, which combines it and says, hey, for every single visitor that I'm paying for, what am I generating? This is actually really, really useful marketing campaigns because it allows you to say, if I spend $1 and I earn $2, I'm in a pretty good place, depending on your unit economics. So this is what you're going to be looking for. When you launch that AA test, do not be surprised if you see numbers as crazy as this, with this amount of variation. It takes a very long time for an AA test to actually balance out 50-50. So you don't be surprised if you see those numbers not 50-50 when you look at the report. That is very, 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 very common. Over time, it should get to 50-50, but that time could also take a very long time depending on how much traffic you have. Now, let's say if we've gotten lucky and we've populated our event, and we still have not populated the event, but what I want to share with you here that's really, really important. So imagine that we did populate that event, and I just want to show this to you so that you can understand what we're wanting to do here. Is let's say that event was here and we saw Shopify checkout completed. What we would do is we would hit register event, and just like we did before, we're going to populate all the descriptions here so that we have it all nice and clear. So let me just go doing that. Total amount here, currency over here, and the quantity over here. And what I want to say, so when it's the checkout completed event, which is essentially our purchase event, there's two important things we're actually gathering from that purchase event. We're getting the fact that there was a purchase, and we're also getting the revenue that was generated. Now, that's important because those are two separate things that I'm usually tracking, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. Even if we don't have the exact event, it's going to work the exact same way. The revenue, so merely setting it up in this way is going to allow us to track when the cart was viewed, or depending on what that event is, when that event occurred. But the total amount event, and for the checkout completed, it's called the total price. Sometimes this does get renamed. It's total price or total amount. That is going to give us the actual value, which is going to allow us to check that revenue per visitor, which is what we want so badly. So we're going to set it up in a similar way. We're going to hit create. And then all we're going to need to do is go to metrics, and we're actually going to be creating two separate metrics for this. One which is for conversion rate. I'm just going to say purchase conversion, and I'm just going to put a note for myself that this was actually, what was it called? This was actually cart viewed. So actually, in my case, but for you it won't be, actually cart view. And I'm gonna again go over here, and in my case hit cart viewed, but in your case it's going to be the Shopify checkout completed, and I'm gonna hit this. Again, gonna leave this as is, not touch anything, and the next thing I'm gonna do is hit create. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make that revenue per visitor metric. So I'm gonna hit create, revenue per visitor. Again, this is actually in my case cart total amount. I'm just putting this as a note for myself for later. And here we're going to hit that same, in my case cart viewed, in your case purchase conversion event. But the main difference is that we are going to change the metric that we're calculating to value of an event property, first value, and we're going to be checking the total amount. Okay, this is very, very important, because what we're basically doing is we're saying we don't care about when the purchase happened or how the purchase happened. We care about the value that the purchase was for. And we're also going to want to format this metric as a currency, because of course it is going to be a dollar value. And once you do those two things, we're then going to hit create, and we are good to go. We're just going to go back to our A/B test, and we're going to confirm that we've added those two metrics, purchase conversion, revenue per visitor, and we are going to hit save now. And once you do so, I want you to start your test. Let that run for about 2 days, 24, 48, 72 hours or so, depending on how much traffic you have. And then you should be good to go. You should be seeing all that data coming in. And that's about it. So thank you so much. I hope that this was valuable for you in helping you get your first A/B test set up, and also in just configuring your VWO account with Shopify. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks so much. Take care.